Yo, what's up guys? Another Dragons video. And this is definitely going to be one of those that you are not going to be able to build, but I definitely do want to showcase it because it's pretty interesting, it's very creative, and it's just showing off pretty crazy runes and what you can do with that. Maybe something that you could build in the future, but until then, this is just something that you have to look at and just be like, wow, this is insane. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't even make this fully proper. And the main reason is, well, I would probably say about like 5 people on the whole server can probably make this across all servers. Maybe probably more, that's probably more, but it is very insane. But what are we looking at? We're looking at a 23-second average Dragons team. Is it 100% consistent? No, it probably has like a fail rate of like 2.25% straight up because we're working with China as armor breaker, which has a double 15% checker, and therefore just has like a 2.25% check for instant failing. But there is some ways to overcome that. I tried a few other methods, but we're gonna look more into that later. But those are even harder to deal the damage on that you need for this. So someone sent me this and I was like, okay, that's gotta be a bunch of LD5s, right? No, it's actually not a bunch of LD5s. These are the runes, and these are the runes of Shroomia. You may or may not know Shroomia, but Shroomia has pretty much the most insane rage runes of any one of all servers. He has a whole bunch of ancient rage runes and blade runes, which definitely do help out. But I was checking these runes and I was checking the team and I was like, wait, this feels somewhat doable because I definitely do have the Swift sets that he has over here on the Julie and the Shina. But then I was first looking at like, how does this team work? Because how is Luna gonna get skill 3 back in the mid boss? Because this team works where Julie moves first, Shina cleans up, Luna, you also have the armor break from the Shina. In the boss stage, we have the Shina armor breaking into a Luna skill 3s. But Luna is fast enough, and because these two units are on earlier ticks, Luna is fast enough to actually move in the 3rd and in the 4th slot. And then after that, the Delcy moves, and then after that, the Delcy moves again, and then the Liam still moves. So this is actually a pretty interesting team. Also, the Liam, you might think, you can't really see it because it's too far off screen. Liam, you might think it's too slow. No, the Liam doesn't move in the mid-boss, so you don't have to go for the 169 combat speed. You actually have to go for the 163 that's on the boss. So pretty interesting team. But then I saw these runes, and I'm like, yo, this is pretty insane. And also, these artifacts. And actually, I can replicate this on runes, but not on artifacts. So let's look at the team that I was able to make with this, and it's still very freaking insane. So this is that exact team, but these are my rune qualities. However, I do have a little bit more stats on the Luna, but my artifact, mainly the left artifact, is a little bit lacking. We do see pretty good stuff throughout. I'll go over all of the runes in a second, but let's let this run and let's show how it works, where it works, and where it doesn't work as well. Plus, kind of the failsafe that's already in there. So we have a Julie combination with Shina on clearing waves. In this case, we have a S3, S2 for clearing that. It would be faster if Julie just clears up that stage. And I do think that the team of Shroomia straight up clears that stage right away, and the Kyle doesn't even move. So in this case, we have the Kyle moving twice, and then we have the Liam going in with a 3rd skill. The main thing that you want to happen with this team is pushing enough damage down for where Liam gets the turn to actually go for its skill right away. Why am I getting 24 seconds instead of 22 seconds? It's because I have Kyle. I don't have a Dalsim. If you had a Dalsim, you're probably looking at those 22. How did I get the 22, which is my fastest time, you might ask? We will see in a moment, because that is a slightly different team. I would say slightly better team, but it is pretty different as well. So in this case, we always see ultimate power on the Liam. What is the reason that Liam would not always go for ultimate power? Well, we have 2 big reasons going in there actually. Luna S1 compared to an S2 is double 10k compared to a 30k in my case. We have the Kyle going for an S1 or an S2, also pretty big damage difference. So those 2 factors determine a lot towards the value where we have the Liam going for a 3rd skill or not a 3rd skill. We do, however, have one fail safe in this whole thing. So I actually kind of want to go, okay, so if she goes for S2 and this goes for S2, he will always go for ultimate power. This keeps going on for most of the time. I have seen this run fail. Main thing where you can see it fail on is Shina missing armor break. As I mentioned before, Shina missing armor break is a 2 times 15 checker. If both of the 15 checkers miss on mainly the final boss. On the mid boss, it's still okay, you can get away with it. It's just becoming a slower run, which we'll talk about in a second later, because Liam will not have his third skill up. But I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But if you miss an armor break here, run is pretty much over. There's no coming back from that. There's absolutely nothing that can be done. Okay, we have double S1 and S1 from everything. We have an S2 coming in from there. So that is something that goes wrong. Can we still clear from this point? Well, the interesting part is, if I don't push down the dragon far enough, Liam will always ultimate power in this stage. So if the Liam doesn't get one shot, which is two factors, not getting the debuff on straight away because he might get critted on and just killed that way, or I don't push the damage that far down that the dragon actually does more damage the moment he's lower in HP and therefore does more damage. If those two things, or one of the two things, don't happen, I still have enough juice that Liam would get the next turn on. I did a little bit more damage and Liam will go perfect out on that skill 3. But that mainly happens if they go for skill 1 on both of the Kaio and the Luna. So to overcome that, you would have to add even more damage. And that is just pretty insanely difficult. But if we end this auto run right now, we will see that we're getting the consistent 24s and then one is a 36. The 36 could fill, but it doesn't happen too often. So I'm working with a 26-27 second average team. If I had the Delseam in there, it would be fast. Looking at the runes. So the runes that we actually have the Shina slightly differently, because I was able to put a fight set to a Shina, which is slightly stronger than the version of Shroomia, but I also needed that to get those in, and I have pretty decent fight runes. This one even still has a 5 in there, which I would have to grind away at some point. We want to do additional damage from attack and crit damage on less, because she is just clearing the waves. Interesting fact is that she has to clear the waves, even though if she misses an armor break on the first hit of that S2. So therefore you need the crit damage less and the additional damage from attack to land that. And in this case I also fixed the accuracy, because I have a 15 accuracy in here, 28 over here, and then she gets a 25 from passive. So she's 3 over max accuracy from what she needs, because she needs 65 and she has 68. So with that, all of the runes in there, and they're pretty decent runes. We have the jewelry that's on the better of the Swift sets. Also a lot of additional damage by attack. Additional damage by attack. This one isn't too great. It's a blue one, but it's perfect fitting. And then also for the runes, we see a lot of like everything in stats in there. The Luna, as mentioned before, could be better on artifacts, especially this one, like, or the damage on fire is very nice, but we have 2 wasted lines over here, and this one is pretty nice too. And then would probably be better if its own skill crit damage rather than this. And this one is pretty nice as well for like throughout extra crit damage. I did a lot of min-maxing of which artifact worked best for me. One that's like very high on the crit damage skill 3, one that's higher on the crit damage skill 1, skill 2, that kind of stuff. And I figured out that a min-maxing of like a lot of stuff was the best artifact that I could give her. Looking at the runes specifically, those are these runes. And then we have the Kyle one. I didn't show that one yet. Once again, artifact left side is pretty bad. We only have one good line, and that good line is pretty much blue. We have an enchanted line, of course, and then 2 wasted lines, which aren't too great. Right side artifact is all of that crit damage low. And the main thing that I did crit damage low, you could go crit damage skill 1, but if he happens to do a skill 2, I still want him to do proper crit damage. And once again, min-maxing a whole bunch, we're testing a whole bunch of different artifacts. This came out to the highest damage for him. And looking at the runes specifically, those are these runes. And then we have Liam. Liam is a triple fight, but Liam doesn't need that much damage to actually do enough on the boss. Once again, we just have this and then 3 wasted lines. And this one is a crit damage skill 3, which is the only thing he cares about. But Liam doesn't need to do all too much damage. He will pretty much clear the boss with just a little bit of fight sets. But you need some okay-ish fight sets. However, as mentioned, we have 2 issues. Kyle and Luna not doing enough damage to make Liam into perfect AI range, and armor breaks. One of the things that I thought of to get the armor break issue in as a lower of an issue in general was adding in a Sabrina. And for Sabrina current state, I only have to change one thing because I had it pretty much set up. I tested it a bit. It is worse, however, but I would also say that it has more potential if you have it actually stronger ruined. So in this case, we have more co-op damage over here. that's also where you can say that this one, I would change this one to co-op damage and team up damage and damage on fire as well. And the main reason for that is that we have extra damage from Sabrina passive, where to Shaina becomes easier to one-shot things as well. We still have, however, need that accuracy in there. You could maybe lower the accuracy a little bit because Sabrina has some accuracy in there as well. But in this case, as far as I remember, I just have to take 2 runes that are on the Kyle, and those Kyle runes would max out whatever I need on her. She is too low on accuracy, I do know that. She gets another 25, but it's still a little bit too low for what she needs. But let's look at this team. Let's see how that runs, and let's see what theirs fails. And this is technically harder to get the great damage in, but you have 2 extra things in this setup. In this setup, you can actually have Luna clear on that wave. If I would add a little bit more damage on the Shaina, it would definitely be something that I could be working with where you have enough damage to actually clear that wave. Thing is, however, here, it's even more important that these units actually do their proper skills, otherwise Liam is not going to do his skill. So this is where I lack the damage as well. But this is also because his spray wasn't as strong and he wasn't pushed back, and therefore I didn't get the dot yet. This is always going to be 36 seconds because we have ultimate power coming in here, and that would definitely do enough. But I want to see a match with, or a run where Luna goes for an S2, or 38 actually, where Luna goes for an S2, and then also Sabrina goes for an S2, and therefore we should still clear. And that clear is actually a lot faster, but you need even more crazy runes. However, in this case, I do have the fight runes on this unit. You could maybe remove that, but this is a lot faster because we don't have another extra turn of any unit going. So that definitely does speed up things. We have more armor breaks in here. S2, please. S goes for the wrong skill, also goes for the wrong skill. Ultimate power, does it even kill? It still kills though. But that was definitely not perfect AI range. We would definitely need like about 10% extra damage to get that perfect AI range in there. But then we're looking at 22.5. That is just straight up insane. Like, if I can make this work, and I think with better artifacts and maybe a little bit better runes, so Luna better artifacts, I would say that both of the twins can have better artifacts. If I would have all of those, I could maybe make it work. Because in a lot of these dungeons, thresholds for damage come almost more from artifacts rather than just the runes. However, the big issue is that Talia S2 AI is pretty garbage as well. So that in there is pretty difficult to get to the point where you say like, okay, it's going to be consistent. Once again, we have the Liam surviving and Liam cleaning out the Wraith. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this dungeon. Once again, I have mentioned it at the start of the video. I pretty much expect nearly no one to be able to rune this. It's just insanely difficult. There's just so much stuff to it. You have to go through pretty great rune depth of double swift sets on high damage. You need 2 rage sets on high damage, and you need a fight set on high damage. So this is pretty much the most rune depth investment into one dungeon team that I've ever seen, because normal dungeon teams, you always have like that one shitter unit that doesn't really do anything and that has just a triple fight in there and you're kind of good with it, and sometimes you even have 2 or 3 of those. Now this team, all 5 of the units need to be proper damage and everything, and we're actually getting a new fastest time on this as well. So as you can see, I haven't run this too much because I'm just mainly lacking that damage. But if I would have more co-op damage, if I would have more Luna damage, if I would have more damage just on the twins in general, this would be insane of a team. And that's definitely something I'm striving for, to be able to rune at some point. But I think I would need to farm a whole bunch of abyssal dungeons in general. Even this is not perfect AI range. So you really need that. The threshold is probably like somewhere around like 30 to 35% to get the perfect AI state in there. And that's just incredibly difficult to get that much damage in. But yeah, we still succeed the runs. That's the good thing about it. It still succeeds the run, even if it's slower. But if we check the average on this, the average on the previous thing was about, I think it was like 26 that I showed in this video. And this is going to be 31, but it has a new best. So yeah, if I can, the more damage I do, the way lower this number will be. And that's also always where I get the questions of like, oh, you got a new next rank. So this is rank 77. So yeah, I've been working on that. I've been working with those kind of things. Another interesting thing, if this is also going to be the end of the video, you definitely maybe want to subscribe for the video of tomorrow, because we actually got a rank 9 on a farmable team in necro. So that is pretty interesting as well. And as you can see, this one is not a farmable team at all. This one is technically a farmable team, and this one you want me to click on here, but you gotta wait for the video of tomorrow, or it's going to be the day after tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. But guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Once again, not really something that I can showcase of like, hey guys, you can build this. Video of yesterday definitely was that. Video of tomorrow might actually be something that you can build on this necro team. I do expect people to be able to build it because of the nerfs on necro. It is actually doable, but necro is just a lot slower to get all of your runs in, and it's still somewhat similar to the old team. But if you have decent vampire runes, maybe you can definitely make this team. It's not too difficult. It's more rune depth of like violent runes, necro, and vampire runes. However, speaking too long. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and see you as always in the next one.